So we'll go with the policy to control inflation. Okay, in terms of inflation, this is the opposite of unemployment. The government will use contractionary fiscal policy and contractionary monetary policy to control the problems of inflation. And another one is direct control. Okay, same like unemployment, kita ada dua, monetary policy and fiscal policy. Okay, we have fiscal policy, monetary policy, and another one is direct control. But for the fiscal and monetary policy, it is contractionary fiscal and monetary policy. Kenapa contract? Contract tu maksudnya kecilkan ekonomi. Because this is about inflation. Inflation occurs at peak when people has too much money. We have economic boom there. We have full employment there. All of our available resources, land, labor, capital, entrepreneur, are used efficiently to produce goods and services. People are employed. People has too much money. When people has too much money, they will start spending. Aggregate demand start to rise, shifting outward, and equilibrium changes from EO to E1, and at the same time will result to increase in general price level from GPLO to GPL1. This is what we call as inflation. Inflation is at one time is good. Why? Because economy is getting much better. Okay, betul. But at the same time, inflation is not good. Why? Because it reduces the purchasing power of the people. The cost of living in the country is very expensive, especially for those yang low income. So we need to notice here that in the country, there are many types of people. Bukan yang high income sahaja, kita ada yang low income, yang middle income. They will be very burdened with the high inflation rate because the income of a person will only rise at the end of the year. Kalau inflation every month increase, meaning that overall price level of every product increase every month, so their purchasing power start to reduce. Their money is not enough to spend daily. So this is very troubling for the people. It's expensive to live in the country that has high rate of inflation. So that's why the government will do something to solve this problem. Okay, so we are going from the peak to true. So here we call as recession. We are trying to reduce the economy to solve the problems of having too much money. Ini yang kita panggil sebagai contractionary policy. So ada dua policy, contractionary fiscal policy and contractionary monetary policy, and another one is direct control. Okay, so the purpose of contractionary fiscal policy and monetary policy is to reduce the spending, because the problems occurs because aggregate demand start to shift due to people has too much money. We would like to reduce the spending, and we would like to reduce the aggregate demand so that the aggregate demand curve will shift leftward. Therefore, the GPL, general price level, will start to fall. Kita nak reduce balik ni, patah balik AD1 kepada AD0 so that general price level ni turun balik, and we can solve these problems of inflation. Okay, so here kita tengok direct control dulu. How the government can do this? First of all, through pricing policy. Impose ceiling price to control an increase in price. Hopefully you ingat lagi masa you belajar ECO162, kita ada price ceiling. Sekarang ni masa zaman coronavirus ni pun sama, harga kawalan ni. kerajaan buat price ceiling sebab sekarang ni because of the problems of people are not allowed to go to the work, many types of goods are not being produced, so we have shortage of goods and services. So banyak barang bila dia tak ada, dia akan harga start meningkat. So especially essentials good, barang-barang keperluan asas ni, barang akan start naik sebelum lagi hari raya. That's why kerajaan buat harga kawalan dah, harga ceiling, maximum price. So kalau tak ingat lagi, kita tengok sekejap what is maximum price. This is price ceiling. So equilibrium price is here. Supposedly the best price is price equilibrium, where the demand and supply curve intersect. Okay, ini adalah harga terbaik. Tapi this equilibrium price is too high at the current time. For example, harga ayam, because of the shortage, menyebabkan harga ayam seekor jadi dalam RM20. So it is very expensive, right? Kita kena ingat kan, rakyat Malaysia ni bukan semua orang kaya. Okay, so the government need to help those yang low income so that they can purchase the chicken also. Government akan buat harga kawalan yang kita panggil sebagai ceiling price ataupun price ceiling. So ini adalah maximum price, harga di bawah harga equilibrium. Okay, so here bila kerajaan buat harga sekatan macam ni, kat sini tak berlaku dah the intersection of demand and supply curve. So what happen here, we will have the problem of shortage, because this is the demand curve, quantity demand is here, quantity supply is here. The seller won't sell the product because the price is lower, so the seller will reduce the quantity to be sold, but the buyer would like to buy more because the price is lower. So there is a conflict between the buyer and seller. Demand is more than the supply. Sebab tu kita ada shortage of goods and services, tak cukup barang in the economy. Okay, so this is price ceiling. Impose ceiling price to control an increase in price. With the imposition of ceiling price, okay, here is the maximum price. So ceiling price means that the seller can sell the good at any price or below, at any price below or equals PC, but it is not allowed to rise above PC. So kat sini je maximum dia can go. So harga sebenarnya, harga equilibrium ayam adalah RM20. So kerajaan nak tolong rakyat, kerajaan buat harga maksimum ayam adalah RM13 for example. So seller are allowed to sell up until RM13 only. So kalau dia nak jual RM13 10%, salah dari segi undang-undang. Dia langgar undang-undang, dia akan kena saman. Tak mampu bayar saman, masuk penjara. Because this is the rules and regulation of the government. Jangan main-main dengan harga kawalan. Okay, so this is the maximum price. Bila kerajaan buat harga kawalan macam tu, dia dapat cegah harga daripada lagi meningkat. So inflation will be resolved. Okay, and then second one is wage policy. Wage apa? Gaji, salary. To control the increase in price, sorry, this one is not price, in wage, because more income means more spending. They may cause aggregate demand to increase and price to increase. Yang ni memang kita tak suka lah. Kerajaan akan kontrol gaji, because here people has too much money, right? Kalau kita bagi lagi banyak gaji, peningkatan gaji lagi tinggi, okay, dia akan menyebabkan makin worse the problem of inflation. So bukan dari segi potong gaji lah, maybe dia boleh buat, oh tak, itu lain, potong gaji lah ni, Okay, ataupun tak ada peningkatan gaji untuk tahun tersebut, because kerajaan tak nak bagi lagi banyak duit pada rakyat. Next is import policy. Okay, this is because import induced inflation. Sometimes because people has too much money, they prefer to buy imported product instead of local product. Sebab kita tahu kan, kita are lacking in terms of technology, right? Kalau in terms of car, kita pun prefer kereta import instead of our local car. In terms of quality, they are much better. So bila pengaliran mata wang lebih banyak keluar from our country to another country, ia akan menyebabkan the problem worse. Okay, so how to solve that? The government will impose import policy to reduce the purchase of imported goods. How? Government akan buat tax on imported good. Government akan buat quota, limitkan kemasukan harga barangan import into the country. Ataupun government will do import license. You will learn this further in chapter 7. Okay. Anti-hoarding. Ini yang berlaku bila inflation yang disebabkan oleh seller, yang cost push. Here, cost push, aggregate supply shift inward to the left. Here, producer purposely increase price in order to increase profit by creating artificial shortage, yang dia sembunyikan barangan. All of a sudden gula tak ada, padahal tak ada masalah pun, bukan musim kemarau, bukan boleh tak boleh tanam tebu ke. Tapi producer gula berpakat sembunyikan bekalan gula dalam gudang. Masing-masing tak nak, dia sembunyikan dengan harapan dia dapat naikkan harga gula so that dia dapat tingkatkan dia profit. Ini kita panggil sebagai creating artificial shortage. So apa yang kerajaan akan buat untuk solve this problem? Kerajaan akan buat polisi anti-hoarding. So to avoid artificial shortage, we can cause the price to increase. Okay, and the government can also do compulsory saving. Ini yang KWSP, insurance, etc. tu. Then a portion of our income, kalau you ada KWSP lagi nanti lah, lepas you dah kerja, we cannot spend. This is our money, tapi we cannot spend now. Ada certain time nanti bila after pension ke, after some sort of period yang government allowed, then we can use that money. So this is the compulsory saving. The government not allowed us to use that money. Some people up until 700, 800 per month. Banyak lah. Kalau seorang dah sampai macam tu kan, berapa banyak kerajaan boleh tarik daripada everybody. So bila banyak duit yang kerajaan boleh tarik, kerajaan boleh kurangkan kadar inflation dengan cepat. Okay, this is in terms of direct control. Next, kita tengok dari segi monetary policy to solve the problems of inflation. The aim is the opposite. Okay, the opposite of expansionary. Kita nak reduce money supply. Kalau expansionary, untuk solve the problems of unemployment, kita nak increase money supply. Sekarang ni, the problem is due to have too much money, so we would like to reduce money supply. So the first one, in terms of open market operation, the same tools, tapi cara guna dia the opposite. Kalau to control unemployment, government will buy security. Kita assume that people already have security. For the inflation, government will sell security. So now, we would like the people to invest in the government's project. Because people has too much money, if they kept spending, aggregate demand will kept increase, will shift outward. When the aggregate demand shift more and more, the general price level will keep increasing and the inflation level will keep rising. So it will get worse. So what should we do is, we ask people to invest in the government project. Macam mana kita galakkan people to invest? Kita offer the people to buy the security from the government. Kita offer, kita tu maksudnya government lah. Okay, government will sell the security with a promise to give higher return. Some people, they would love to buy the security from the government to invest in government's project, because government project, like I told you before, is low risk. You will confirm dapat your money back. Walaupun dia return dia rendah, tapi confirm you akan dapat your money back. Instead of you spend tak tahu mengata-kata kan, better you invest your money to the government's project. So when the government sells security, the people will have the security. Okay, perjanjian tu will go to the people, and the money will go to the government, right? When the government, the people give the money to the government, people will have less money to spend. Money supply will start to decrease. Aggregate demand decrease. Price, nampak tak? Keywords dekat sini. Because inflation is due to price. So we are not talking about production anymore, right? Tak ada. Untuk inflation ni tak payah cakap pasal production. Production is about unemployment. You must mention about price now. Because inflation occurs due to change in price. Price decrease, and then your inflation will decrease. Nampak tak? Bila aggregate demand start to decrease, your aggregate demands decrease, the price will start to decrease. When I mean price is general price level lah. Okay. And then what happened there? Settle masalah inflation kita. No more inflation. Okay. Sell security, people has less money, the supply decrease, aggregate demand decrease, price decrease, and inflation decrease. The second one, in terms of cash ratio, required reserve ratio, the BNM will increase cash ratio. Here, because the problem occurs because people has too much money, kan? Kita tak nak money lagi banyak. Kita tak nak bagi orang pinjam duit lagi banyak. Apa yang boleh di loan out tu lagi banyak. Kita akan banyakkan reserve. Cash ratio is the amount that be reserved in the Bank Negara Malaysia, right? So, when the cash ratio is increased, for example, cash ratio instead of 10%, now it's become 30%, 40%. Bayangkan, 40% out of 1,000. Kalau initial deposit 1,000, 0.4 darab 1,000, RM400 disimpan sebagai reserve. Reserve tak boleh kacau, disimpan dalam bank negara sebagai simpanan. So yang boleh di loan out only 600, compared to before, masa 10% yang boleh loan out 900. Banyak yang berkurang sekarang, kan? Okay, dia akan menyebabkan money supply decreases, aggregate demand decrease, price decrease, inflation decrease. As you can see here, kat belakang tu sama je. Start dengan money supply, aggregate demand, sama ke atas tu point dia. Okay, while for interest rate, we don't want people to use their money, so we will initiate them to save the money. So nak galakkan dia orang menyimpan duit, kita kena naikkan interest rate. So bila interest rate of saving money in the bank increase, people will be attracted to save money in the bank, kan? Instead of spending tak tahu pasal, baik simpan duit, dapatlah pulangan daripada interest rate yang tinggi. I'm not talking about Islamic, I'm talking about the conventional perspective. Okay, rising interest rate, people will be attracted to save money. Money supply decrease, aggregate demand decrease, price decrease, inflation decrease. You must follow the sequence. Jangan letak inflation dulu, baru price, baru aggregate demand. You must follow the sequence. AD turun dulu, AD turun dulu, AD decrease, price decrease, then inflation solve. Okay. And last one, in terms of the cost of borrowing, which is the discount rate. Okay, now the government will offer long-term loan. Bila long-term loan, duration of borrowing is longer, meaning that higher discount rate. Sebab discount rate ni maksudnya duration pinjam duit tu. Meaning that sekarang ni higher interest rate to borrow money from the bank. Cost of borrowing will be higher. So people nak borrow ke tak nak borrow? Bila cost of borrowing is higher, business will think twice, thrice before borrowing money from the bank. Sebab before borrowing money for the purpose of investment, they need to compare the cost of borrowing with expected return. If the cost of borrowing is higher than expected return, they won't borrow. Return rendah daripada cost of borrowing. Buat apa kita nak buat investment? Itu namanya buat amal. Okay? Investment will start to decrease. Bila kita bercakap pasal discount rate, you must mention about investment. Okay? Ini pun macam you are talking about cash ratio, you must mention about credit creation. When you are talking about interest rate, you must mention about saving money. Okay? Aggregate demand decrease, price decrease, inflation also decrease. Very simple. Right? So hopefully you can understand this. Very simple. Okay? This one is lowering discount. I'm not sure what happened here. Lowering discount rate. This one is rising interest rate. The rising discount rate and the lowering discount rate. And last one is the contractionary policy to control inflation, the fiscal policy. And our aim is to reduce the aggregate demand, because the aggregate demand increase, that is cause the inflation. Okay, to reduce aggregate demand, because people has too much money. So what should the government do? Two tools: government spending and taxes. First of all, in terms of government spending, the government will decrease the government spending. Jangan bagi duit di PPM. Sebab sekarang ni dah people has too much money. Kalau kita bagi duit PPM lagi teruk lah. Okay. Zaman Najib dulu duit BRIM jangan bagi. Jangan bagi subsidi. Jangan bagi. Susahkan pasal duit tu. No more spending to the people. Okay, decrease the government spending. People will have less money to spend. When you don't have money to spend, automatically the aggregate demand will decrease, price decrease, inflation decrease, settle. Okay, decrease the government spending. Alright. Next is in terms of tax. What will the government do? The government will increase the tax rate, because people has too much money, so we take the money. Naikkan tax rate. People will have less money to spend. Aggregate demand turun, price turun, inflation decrease. Sadaqallahul-Azim. Alright, so what should you do is you must find a policy that your country, your chosen country, use to solve the problem of inflation and unemployment of your chosen country. Tak semestinya sama dengan apa yang saya explain. So yang saya explain ni, you will use in your test 2, will be asked in the test 2. So you need to learn juga. Tapinya kalau ada yang sama for your country, then it will be a bonus. Sebab yang saya ajar ni cuma, this one is a bit on the policy. Ada banyak lagi policy yang government can use to solve that two main problem of every country facing, which is inflation and unemployment. So you need to, this is week 8, right? So you need to submit the progress report starting from next week lah. Kalau tak, it will be too late. I need to read and I need to comment. Kalau you nak hantar, I hantar siap je, you will be in trouble then. Okay?